Hello, this is Josh Robb and Austin Wilson from Hixon Zuercher Capital Management, bringing you the August market update. We're looking back at July and talking to you about some of the events that happened and some of the things that we're looking forward to in this month.
And we're going to bring you 5 things you should know about the month of July and a couple days after, I guess.
Yep.
And probably 5 things you just want to know, not that you need to know.
You do need to know.
Okay, you do need to know. So, number 1, the month of July was mixed for equity markets. S&P 500, that gave a total return of 2.38% for the month. The Dow, it returned 1.34%, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ returned 1.19%. Now, developed international stocks only returned 0.81% for the month, and small caps, so we're looking at the Russell 2000 index, they underperformed and they were down 3.61% the month of July. And emerging market stocks, they fared even worse yet. They were down 6.67% for the month of July as the Chinese Communist Party continued to crack down on big Chinese tech.
All right. And in other news, you can actually purchase a piece of Princess Diana's wedding cake from 40 years ago, whatever that was.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And so back at the wedding, they had 20 plus cakes made and they cut up a ton of pieces and they gave a bunch to the staff, right? So the Queen's staff and all of them, and someone saved it, preserved it, and it's for sale in the auction. It's expected to go for about $400 for a piece of cake you probably should not eat.
So the question is, would you eat it?
No, I would not. No. Definitely not. Not after 40 years.
Tastes more than I am.
But it goes back to the saying, though, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
I wouldn't have that cake. Number 2, jobs. Jobs are one big theme for the economy. The labor market continued its recovery coming out of last year's COVID-19 shock. And in the month of July, we added 943,000 jobs. That's a pretty big number. That was above expectations and above the prior month. The unemployment rate officially ticked down to 5.4%. And separately, looking back at the month of June, the most recent job openings and labor turnover survey report that we got, we showed over 10 million jobs open. And that is the highest number on record.
Okay, great. You probably heard about Facebook's standards and that if you violate them, you could get banned or restricted in your accounts. There was a Facebook group that was consistently getting banned and they had to keep filing a petition to remove it, saying it was unfair. But when you hear some of their quotes like kill them all, drown them, it sounds like it's a pretty rough group.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in it.
They also used some inappropriate terms and words. Well, it turns out it was a gardening group and they were referencing the pests in their garden.
Okay.
And one of the most highest instances was when they asked for their favorite tools and they kept talking about gardening hose and the algorithm could not figure out what they were referencing. So, just be careful out there which groups you join.
Yeah, that's why I'm not in a gardening group, actually.
That would be
That's the only reason.
Yes.
On August 5th, the Biden...
You don't want to soil your name?
Oh, I don't want to soil my name. I wouldn't have even thought about that. On August 5th, the Biden administration hosted an electric vehicle day where they talked and laid out plans to increase electric vehicle sales over time. They were joined by representatives from the big 3 U.S. automakers, and they announced the goal that by 2030, about half of cars sold in the U.S. should be electric is the goal. There was an executive order signed during that time. However, notably missing from the event were the electric vehicle leaders of the world, Tesla, and other companies that have huge presences creating electric vehicles such as Honda, Toyota, Volkswagen, Nissan, Hyundai, probably due to the lack of unionization because the labor unions were a big part of the big 3 and the union representatives for the UAW were actually present.
All right. And in other news that you really don't need to know, if you like mac and cheese.
I do.
And you like ice cream.
I do, but I see where this is going and I don't
They now have a mac and cheese ice cream. Kraft teamed up with a local ice cream company and produced mac and cheese ice cream with the distinct orange color that you come to know and love from Kraft mac and cheese.
Okay, so aside from your dairy intolerance,
yes,
would you eat
Which is both sides of that thing.
Would you eat it flavor-wise?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
That's
Those are two
so
totally different things.
Can you be like, go to an ice cream shop and be like, I'll have a Kraft mac and cheese
Apparently, it was intriguing enough where they sold out, where there was a lot of people who want to try it. Oh, man.
Hey, we're
lost
going.
Power.
We lost power.
Come on. We're recording in the middle of this whole thing.
I can't even read.
All right. In other news, I'm going to pause. Oh, Come on back.
I don't think we're back. Josh,
We're back.
you changed.
Well, you know, little power storm, knocking everything out for a day. We're back to recording.
We are back.
News hasn't changed. We're ready to go.
So, the news has not changed. We're on number 4, and number 4 is on August 10th, the Senate narrowly passed. And I mean narrowly by 1 vote because that's party lines. The Democratic-led infrastructure bill totaling around $1 trillion. And that actually led to later that night, the passing of the $3.5 trillion budget reconciliation that is going to lead to further infrastructure, along with a slew of other items. So that's a big bill. It's a lot of money. We're talking trillions. Billions are a thing of the past. We're in the trillions.
So speaking of big deals, there's a man from Wisconsin who is officially in the Guinness World Records, has eaten 32,340 Big Macs. He started back in 1972. He likes Big Macs. You know, I think he's the main reason for their slogan because he's loving it.
Can you imagine? That's probably 2 a day.
That's quite a few a day.
And, okay, the Big Mac used to be bigger.
Is it?
Yeah, they actually made it smaller. So the Big Mac used to be bigger when it was McDonald's biggest sandwich.
Okay.
And then they made it smaller when the double quarter pounder came out, so that the double quarter pounder could be the biggest.
Yeah, which was a good sandwich too. That's a lot of meat.
I love meat.
Why didn't they just call it a half pounder? A double quarter pounder.
It's more catchy.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, number 5, fifth and final thing that you need to know from current news.
Yes.
Olympics. You know, they just wrapped up. So, I'm going to give you the total medal counts. And this is a doozy right here. The U.S. edged out China by 1 gold medal. And that came at the very end, by the way. 1 gold medal, and we led the gold medal count, 39 to China's 38. Looking at silver medals, we also edged out China, 41 to 32. We also edged out Russia / the Russian Olympic Committee.
ROC.
Yeah, because, you know, Russia got around their blood doping violations by trying to create a new entity to do that. Yeah, they were independent. I'm sure they had nothing to do with Russia. So anyway, bronzes, 33 to 23. So nice try, Vladimir Putin, but
So we were number 1 in all 3 of those.
so
Which means,
we were actually
by math,
number 1
overall.
by total medal count by a lot. 113 to China in second place, 88. Japan was third on their home soil. So anyway, nice try, China also. So go USA. NBC also, following up, announced that this year's Olympics was the worst rating Olympic of all time.
Yeah, there was a lot going on to make that kind of a harder one to watch. Just timing was part of it. I mean, time zone differences for the U.S. over to Japan. It's middle of the night there.
Watch in the middle of the night.
So, speaking of Olympic sports, weightlifting is a summer Olympic sport, and there is a Florida woman who owns the Guinness World Record for oldest competitive weightlifter.
Okay.
So, because of COVID, the last competitive weightlifting thing she's done was in 2019.
Yep.
At that point, she was 98 years old and 94 days.
Competitive.
Now, she's signed up to do a November one this year, which would make her 100 years old if she competes. And she lifts, depending on the different lift styles, up to 150 pounds in some of her competitions. So that's pretty impressive.
I'm waiting on the depends joke.
No, I'm not going to do that one.
Okay, that's good.
It's good. It's hilarious. Send us an email if you want to hear it, but I'm not saying it on camera.
Okay, well, this has been Austin Wilson and Josh Robb with Hixon Zuercher Capital Management, providing you with an update for the month of August, talking about the month of July. Please remember, nothing we talked about here is a recommendation, but if you would like to talk about your financial situation, give us a call, 419-425-2400, or email us at hello@hzcapital.com. Until next month, have a great one.
See you later.
Bye.